Child. Y'all better get in here. 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 Because, baby. All right. So, as per usual, we are reading from the Inner City Press. Okay. We're reading from the Inner City Press, and we about to get it on and should happen the way that we get it on and popping from over here. Okay. So, earlier today, we talked about Dawn. Dawn Richard took the stand. And Dawn was making some pretty explosive testimony against Diddy. Now, it did seem like she got a little crossed up, a little tripped up out there because, she admitted, basically, she didn't say directly from what we saw. I don't know. But we did see where she admitted that she kept up with the story as best as she could. I did read for y'all where in her court case, she gave the story from a different version, a different account of things. So we ended with Carrie Morgan. All right. And when we ended with Carrie Morgan, they were taking a break. And when they came back, they said the jury was out for lunch. And that's when everybody that's down there went live and started doing their thing. Shout out to Gene Deal. I see he did make it out there. Okay. Hopefully he is down there when I get there. If not, I'll find a way. I will find a way, honey. So they came back from their break. So when they came back from lunch, there was something that was submitted, and they said, if I let this, Miss Ventura could be recalled as a witness. So Cassie could be coming back to the stand, you guys. Cassie could be coming back as a stand. And, AUSA Salvik is like, I doubt that we would call her, but the judge says the defense could call her back to the stand. So Slavic says, I doubt that she would be available. The judge says the evidence is out. So whatever evidence it is, we'll have to wait to find out what that evidence is. But whatever that evidence is, they're saying that the evidence is out right now because the defense could call Cassie back up to the stand. And the judge, in her state of being pregnant, does not want to deal with that, okay? Because there's a possibility of her going into labor. It's very great. That was something that they were really concerned about the first time that she was out there on the stand. Pregnant. Okay, pregnant. She was big and pregnant. All right. So they did not want her going into labor on their time, on their dime. They was not having it. All right. Let me go and let me put the hootie hoo out real quick because I didn't do that. I don't normally, I just jump on and I come live, and whoever comes in comes in. Now understand that right now Henny is not there on the ground just as of yet, but I know some people are like, I don't know. Oh, you just messed me up. See, this is what happens. All right, so. All right, I've sent the hootie hoo out. Now we can get into what is the goings-ons when it comes down to everything. Oh, Inner City Press, you are tweeting as I'm trying to put stuff up. All right. Here we go. I apologize. All right, there we go. So they said they doubt that she would be available. So the judge says, I anticipate Mr. David James will be the next witness. How is he relevant? So AUSA Salvik says, as to the means and methods of the enterprise, Mr. Combs threatening to assault employees. So David James, was this gentleman right here, is testifying for the prosecution. He's not even a defense witness. So now I'm curious as to if he's going to end up coming back. Interesting, right? All right. Okay, so it says, while waiting for the jury to come back in, here is court art from Combs' second Georgia lawyer, Okay, so Miss Westmoreland, we get a sketch of her. So now it says the jury is entering. So the government rests their case. All right, they have no further questions for Miss Morgan. So now enters Mr. Agnifilio. Let me take my glasses off for this one. All right. So now Mr. Agnifilio is cross-examining Kerry. He says, you were Miss Ventura's best friend since 2004. So Kerry says, actually 2001. We met waiting for the Polaroids to develop. I was living in Buffalo. She was in Connecticut. Now this is an old throwback picture of Kerry right here. Child, Diddy, you hit that white woman in the head with a wooden hanger. You're going down. You're going down. All right, so then Mr. Agnifino says, when you were both in New York City, so Kerry says, I stayed downtown. She moved to Harlem. Agnifilio says, did you ever meet Kim Porter? Kerry says, yes, probably at a concert. So Agnifino goes, was Cassie ever jealous? So Kerry goes, yes. But like, what does that have to, never mind. Let's keep reading. So Agnifilio goes the other way. Carrie says, Cassie was speaking with Michael B. Jordan and Sean got jealous. She was trying to leave him. So Carrie is establishing that Cassie tried to break away from him, okay? Agnifilio. Is that how you say it? I don't even know, but that's his name for right now until I figure out how to say his name for real. All right, so he goes, you were both using rugs. So Kerry goes, no, we were in South Africa. Agnifilio goes, did you learn about Gina? Kerry says, yes. So Kerry says, he was having a full-on relationship with that little girl. So Agnifilio goes, why do you call her that? Kerry says, she acts like that. She's younger than us. So he done moved and got him a little sweet thing that was a little younger than Cassie. Child. All right. So Agnifilio goes, you two were best friends for 18 years, but now you haven't spoken since 2018. Kerry says, that's true. Agnifilio goes, at the danger of being capital obvious. That's a long time. She moved on. So the government objects, right? So Agnifilio goes, why haven't you spoken with her? So Kerry says, she did not support me after Sean assaulted me. I tried that line at assault. So, she draws the line at assault is what he meant to say. So Agnifilio goes, you reached a settlement with Miss Ventura. Kerry goes, the money came from Mr. Combs. Agnifilio shows Carrie Morgan photos, then asks, do you know of Louise Hayes? If Louise Hayes is a self-help author about self-affirmation? So Kerry goes, yes. Agnifilio goes, why did you send him this with words of encouragement? Kerry said, I don't remember sending it. Agnifilio goes, okay. So then he goes on and says, I want to show you a few more photos. But first, let's talk about the incident when he put his hands on your neck. Were you and Cassie using rugs at the time? Kerry says, no. Agnifilio says, what did he say? Kerry says, he said, who is she cheating with? So now here we go, because we were under the impression, based off of the information we had available at the time, that he put his hands on Kerry because she was using rugs with Cassie. But Kerry is saying, no, he put his hands on me because he thought that Cassie was cheating on him. Child. Agnifilio goes, you went to an urgent care and not the hospital. Kerry says, right. Agnifilio goes, but you don't, the prosecutors, I guess you told the prosecutors it was bloody and you went to the hospital. Kerry says, I don't remember that. So Agnifilio goes, look at this. And then he pulls up a 3500 material not shown to the jury. So I guess that's something showing the statements that she had already made. So he goes, she goes, I see that I said that. So now it's cross-examination and we've got AUSA Foster. I swear to y'all, between the two teams, I can't keep up with all of these lawyers. It's like they got the dream team on both sides, y'all. So now AUSA Foster says, do you remember Mr. Agnafilio asking about the incident in LA? Mr. Agnafilio goes objection. So the judge goes overrule. So AUSA Foster says, and he hit her like in Jamaica, arguing about jealousy. AUSA Foster continues on and says, what happened in Jamaica? So Kerry says he dragged Cassie by her hair in a 50-yard hallway. So he's dragging her down the hallway by her hair. Foster, what was he talking about jealousy? Kerry said no. He said she spent too long in the bathroom. Foster, nothing further. So the judge says any recross. Agnafilio says now. I guess no is what was supposed to be, and it was a typo. So they end with Carrie Morgan. So let's see what Carrie Morgan is showing. Well, we haven't heard about freak-offs, but we are hearing about out the country. We're hearing about physical violence. We are hearing about trafficking, because we are hearing about moving her from state to state and violence occurring. Okay, that's just my off the top analogy right now. I really have to sit and digest this to give y'all the full analogy on everything that's being said, because on the surface, I see how it could get lost into this being a Cassie versus Diddy case, and it's really not, because it's showing a pattern. And like I said to y'all earlier, it's establishing that these things were actually happening, and it's speaking to the credibility of Cassie. Again, we are getting our pieces of what's going on from inner city press, and they're typing as this is going on. So once we get the full transcript, it will be able to fill things in, or once, I don't have to say, y'all already know what's going on. But they're establishing a foundation. Even from the pieces that I'm hearing, there's more that was going on. If you think that they just asked, was that about rugs and left it alone, you're absolutely incorrect, because I'm quite sure there was a full conversation about that went on. I'm going to see if I can get Uda to come on a little later on. I'm not 100% sure, because he's got things that he's got to cover, and I never want to take away from somebody doing their thing. But yeah, that's that. So they called David James, which is this gentleman right here, who was Diddy's assistant, okay? And AUSA Foster, I'm going to assume, because they did not change the name of anyone. So AUSA Foster says, why are you here? So David James says, I've been subpoenaed. So Foster says, were you Combs' personal assistant? David says from 2007 to 2009. Foster says, who is that in the photo? David James says, that is David James. Foster says, that is yourself? He says, yes. All right. David James says, I went to college in Michigan. Later, I faxed my resume to Bad Boy. So that's establishing how he became affiliated with Bad Boy Records and working for Mr. Combs, okay, working for Diddy. So Foster says, was there an interview? David says yes, and he gives the location. Foster says, how'd you meet? So David says Tommy, his sister Keisha, and others. So there were people within his circles that introduced David to Diddy. So Foster says, how did he test you? So David says, they gave me 40 appointments and asked me to make a schedule. You had to know, for example, what time a particular show like Hot 97 came on. So they tested him to see if he would be able to keep up with Diddy's pace. So he had to get they gave him a schedule that had 40 different appointments on there. He had to then put it into a schedule format, because they were all possibly written out on a piece of paper and listed like boom, 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 or they were all over the place. So he had to then organize it. And what he's saying is, if he had a radio show appearance, he had to know what time that show came on, what time he had to be there, and he had to make sure that he scheduled everything so that nothing overlapped, okay? So now Foster says, what did Mr. Combs ask you? So David says, to make a spreadsheet for Miami. David says, I said I'd know his food and restaurant preferences. He asked me why I'd make a good assistant. I said, can't stop, won't stop, and I got the job. I am not going to call that man Pop Pop. Let's continue. So Foster says, what would you do as an assistant? So David said, bad boy to 5, then out to dinner, then the studio to 3 a.m. We'd get a call at the end of the night. So basically, he's just all over the place with Diddy, from the office to the studios to everything in between. He's there. He's at Diddy's beck and call, because that's basically what an assistant does. So Foster said, did you travel with Mr. Combs as well? David says yes. Foster says, who were the security staff? So David names the security: D-Rock, Bonds, Uncle Paulie. Now understand this. If D-Rock and Roger Bonds and Harv and this guy, Uncle Paulie, and all, if they don't get subpoenaed to come into court, I'm going to be really side-eyeing this government, because their names just continuously keep coming up, keep coming up, keep coming up. They have to come into court. And if they weren't subpoenaed already, they will be. But I believe that these dudes are going to end up coming into court. I definitely believe that Roger Bonds is going to testify. I believe that. But we're going to have to see. So Foster says, you work 20 hours a day? And David says, yes, security did too. Foster says, what did security staff tell you? David says, to stay in my lane. So now Foster says, who said that? David says, Bonds and Uncle Paulie. Here we go. Y'all ready? Here goes y'all first poll. Boom. Y'all double tap the screen. Make sure that y'all are taking the poll. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see a black bar. If it hasn't popped up across for you, tap that screen, take that poll, get that poll to 100, and we will take the next poll. Okay? So, Foster says, focusing on his personal chef, who is, and David says, Chef Jordan Atkinson. Okay, that's the chef. Now, people were asking me, will the chef be testifying? I believe. All right, I don't know, but I believe she will be, because I believe anybody that is being brought up right now is definitely somebody that will come into play. If they aren't scheduled to, they will. So now Foster says, did Mr. Combs have girlfriends then? David says Kim Porter, Sarah, Tara, Yana, and Cassie. So you've got Kim, Sarah, Tara, Yana, Cassie, 5 women that he was dealing with at the same damn time. Foster, what was your first conversation with Cassie? David, we were on Star Island. Carrie Morgan was there too. Cassie said, this lifestyle is crazy. David says, I asked her, why don't you leave? She said, Sean controls my life, my music. He pays for my apartment. Now, keeping her trapped into that situation. This is, could this be considered coercion? But we talked about this. We talked about how he controlled every aspect of her life. And now here you have his assistant, somebody that worked for him for 2 years, for 20 hours a day, telling you that this is what Cassie is saying. So Foster says, next conversation. So David says it was about her music. So she's asking, like, what was your next conversation with Cassie? So David said it was about her music, but the album never came out. All right. Foster says, you overheard a conversation. David says, yes. David says, Mr. Combs said, Kim is my queen. Out in LA with my family. He said, I have Cassie right where I want her. She's young and moldable. Young and moldable. Hold on. Let's screenshot that. And then let me go ahead and let me airdrop this to myself so we could put that on us behind this screen. Because, yeah. What happened? Hold on, guys. Let's get that up on the screen. David James, Mr. Combs said, Kim is my queen out in LA with my family. He said, I have Cassie right where I want her. She is young and moldable. Okay? Hold on, you guys. Hello? All right. Sorry, y'all. Haven't we been talking about this? This is grooming. Grooming. Right here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And let me tell you something that I did not take into consideration. Okay? Listen to this. Remember we were talking about, how the escorts were going from state to state to state to state? How about Cassie was going from state to state and out the country and linking up with escorts? That's still slugs trafficking. That's still the Mann Act. This right here, yeah. All right. So now, Foster says, Your Honor, how much longer do you want to go? This would be a good place to break. So they ended up taking a break. And again, that's when you saw everybody coming back outside again. So now Inner City Press says, wait, there's more. Agnafino, MDC Brooklyn makes us end VCT calls at 6 p.m. We need more time. So he's asking the judge to get more time. He says, put a letter on docket. All right. Put a letter on docket because Agnafilio has been trying to step around the whole process of putting things on the docket like he is supposed to. He has been, doing things off kilt, so to speak. All right. Let's see if there's anything else because they did take a break. So let me refresh. Nope, they broke. 11 minutes ago, they took a break. So after this, they took a break. Now, people are taking a break on this point right here. Right here. Young and moldable. Young and moldable. Let me see what y'all saying. 29 votes on that. Get the let me see. Yeah. Get the votes up to 100, you guys. Tap that and let me know what y'all think. Right now, let's see where y'all are at. So far, 87% of you are saying that you believe that Roger Bonds will testify, with 13% of you saying no. Get that to, we're at 30. Let's get that up, y'all. Hit the poll. Hit the poll. Hit the poll. Let me know what y'all think. This is y'all poll. This is y'all voices being heard. Y'all let me know what y'all are thinking about all of this. But now, do you believe, now this is where I want to go with this next poll because I want to ask y'all about this. Now, if you remember, we've been talking about this for a very long time, how Cassie was molded and groomed into this lifestyle. But I was looking at it when I was going where I was going to earlier today. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself about Cassie, and I'm thinking about why they keep talking about Cassie like so much and trying to focus this just on her. Is it just this case? Is it her civil suit? Like what is it about this? Because Cassie can corroborate all of this stuff. And they're going to be bringing Jane in. To my understanding, the lady Jane will be brought in as well. And she's going to testify. And she went through something similar as Cassie. And you got to think, for 10 years, that woman was with this man. Was it 10 years? She was with him for a long time. And everybody that is testifying right now is testifying to the enterprise. They're testifying to people being sworn into secrecy by fear or threats, or they're just moving in the greater good of what's good for him. I have not heard anybody bring Jaguar into this case. And I know that a lot of people want to talk about the salacious parts of everything. They want to talk about, Diddy and the Meek Mills thing, and they want to talk about, and I'm right now I want to focus on what's going on in this case, because there's time for us to talk about all the other stuff that's been put out there. But I really want to focus on this case because it feels like, it's very easy for people to get sucked into this is domestic violence. This is Cassie versus Diddy. It's supposed to be a Rico. It's very easy to get sucked into those things. But I feel like the prosecution is doing a damn good job at laying their groundwork, and the defense is coming back and they're able to take their blows. But Diddy is really not coming out looking good at all in my eyes, because you have your personal assistant. If nobody else's testimony really held any validity for any of you guys, it should be this person's testimony here, David James. Even though I can guarantee you that when the defense gets their hands on him, they are going to try to paint an image of him being a disgruntled employee. They're going to probably question him about, well, isn't it true that you were let go because of this, and this, or whatever? But they're going to try to paint him as a disgruntled employee that is now trying to seek revenge by taking the stand and testifying on behalf of the prosecution. And that's not the case, okay? That's not the case. They are laying this out. And I'm seeing the groundwork that's going down. I know that there are a lot of people that are still on the fence, and that's cool. Stay on the fence, because guess what? I can't tell you for sure anything at this moment. We are only day 1 of week 2 into this, and we've still got a long ways to go. So today we had Dawn finish up her testimony, okay? Dawn did some damage to Diddy as well. I mean, her with the story thing, that's kind of like, I don't know about you right now, girl. Like, why would you say that? But Dawn did do some damage in there. Then you had Carrie Morgan come up here, and she did a little bit more damage as well. Then you've got David James, who's up here now. So you've got 3 people that have taken the stand in one day, and we're only at 3:28 p.m. on the East Coast, in case you are on another coast or in another time zone or in another country, because Henny Gang is international. Salute to all of you that are tuning in and tapping in from wherever you are at this particular moment. But at this point in time, you can bet your bottom dollar that James just did some damage. Now for the jury to sit with this, I think this was a good strategic move on behalf of AUSA Foster, because AUSA Foster is leaving the jury and the press and the public with this last line from David, where he said, Diddy said, I got her right where I want her, and she's young and she's moldable. Thank you for the 100 sticker, Lenny. Chat litter, no. Where are we today so far? Win or loss for baby oil, diddly D. I feel like Diddy's taking an L. I feel Diddy is taking an L. You guys take the poll. Tap the poll down there. Do you guys think that Roger Bonds will be called to testify? And the reason that is the poll question is because Cassie has testified about Roger Bonds, okay? You've got Dawn testified about Roger Bonds. Kerry. Didn't Kerry mention Roger Bonds? And now you have David James mentioning Roger Bonds. D-Rock is also another name that has been coming up as well. Uncle Paulie, I haven't heard Uncle Paulie, but again, we're getting the pieces that we get from Inner City Press. Shout out and salute to them for their hard work and what they do. But I would have to get the full transcripts in order to see everything of what's going on from this day until I actually sit my butt in a seat and I'm watching everything that's taking place and I can take my notes. Then I'll be able to give y'all the in-betweens that make sense with the rest of what's going on with the case. So as of right now, they are on a break, okay? She asked to go on a break, so they're taking a break. Now, will AUSA Foster continue to question, will this be a direct with the prosecution, or will this be cross-examination when we come back with the defense? That's what we're waiting to find out. Y'all let me know what y'all think down there in the polls. Let's see what you guys are talking about. I really feel like Diddy is taking an L. Aubrey will not be testifying according to what she said. On her Instagram, she said she's been standing. That's a fact. Aubrey is out. So I know that we had done a poll and we were asking, like, oh, do you guys think that Aubrey is going to testify? And a lot of you guys felt like she was. I felt like it would be good if she did. But you have to also think this is not, they don't have room for other things to come into play. Even though I feel like artists, some of these artists that he had that are not working with him anymore, I feel like we may get one, maybe two. I don't know who. I don't know which ones, but we might get one, maybe two more because Dawn was one. So we may get one, maybe two more. I'm not sure. Foundation continues to build. That part, gold digger. Listen, the more we're learning about this case, the more horrific it is. So now when you hear David James say things like, oh, she's young and she's moldable and I've got her right where she is, it makes you think back to those text messages when he was texting her and it was all this lovey-dove stuff. Gaslighting. 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 That's what I'm hearing now. Gaslit. She was being gaslit. Love the shades today, sis. Styling and profiling. Thank you. I'm sitting in the backyard. I just came back from where I needed to come from. So I'm just putting my little shades on. You know, I love me a good shade, honey. Someone said earlier that Puffy unalived Prince. Don't know, that hasn't come up. That's the thing. We haven't gotten into any unaliving allegations as of yet, you guys. We haven't. I want to know where D Woods at. She was out from Jump. I wonder what made her leave. Good question, Poppington. Hey, girl. Gaslighting at its finest. I agree. What happens if Cassie goes into labor? Cassie has her baby. She's not testifying anymore. Okay, so those of y'all who just coming in, Cassie is not testifying. Kristen, I know you had your birthday weekend. Happy birthday, girl. Cassie was done testifying on Friday. She left the stand. We ended Friday with Dawn Richard on the stands. So Dawn was on the stand Friday. She started off today on Monday. We had Cassie's best or ex-best friend, Carrie Morgan, testify. And now this guy, David James, who was Diddy's assistant for 2 years between 2007 and 2009, on the stand testifying now. And the last thing that he said, which was right before they went break, is that he's alleging, Diddy said, Kim is my queen out in LA with my family. He said, I have Cassie right where I want her. She's young and moldable. And so now they have gone on a break and we are waiting for so now while we are waiting, let's talk about Kerry. Kerry testified to them being in Jamaica and her watching him hit Cassie. We're watching Kerry testify to the fact that her and hold on a second. So she talked about how Diddy put hands on her in New York, in LA, and in Jamaica. How they ran out of a house and was hiding on the stairs. How he came to her house with a hammer, banging on the door, trying to get in, looking for Cassie. How when they were in Jamaica, an incident happened and she watched him drag Cassie by the hair down a 50-yard hallway. How Kerry watched Cassie run off into the woods in Jamaica, and she jumped on a golf cart and Diddy jumped on a golf cart. They went two separate ways. She found Cassie, and she and Cassie hid in a ditch from Diddy. Gene Deal was his bodyguard, but Gene Deal left after Diddy's passing. I mean, after Diddy's passing. Ooh, Lord forbid. Lord forbid. After Biggie's passing. So when you talk about Biggie's passing, you're talking about 97. So by then, Gene Deal talks about the evolution of Diddy, what he's capable of. And he could tell you what he's capable of based off of what he saw around him. And Gene Deal has talked about what he's seen around him, what Diddy has done. He talked about the City College incident, how he tried to tell him this wasn't a good idea, it wasn't going to work. He talks about how he tried to warn Diddy, like, look, I've gotten intel, I've gotten information that, somebody is going to be unalived here, and how Diddy did not listen. And for Gene, he said he didn't want to listen to me, and that's it. He left. All right, so I guess you guys, all right, we're going to close the poll out. And I'm going to put a new poll. All right. Here's the next one. Get that poll to 100. Let's go, people. All right. Poor Cassie. I remember when she released her first single. I thought she was the most beautiful thing I ever saw. It is awful to hear that she has been exposed to such evil. Yes, I agree. So as you can see, 77% of y'all, based off of where the poll was stopped at, said that you believe that Roger Bonds is going to testify. Now, the next poll is, was Cassie being gaslit? Do you guys believe that Cassie was being gaslit based off of the last thing that David James said before we went to break? Now, I also want to ask y'all this while we're conversating and we're talking about things. Do you think that any of these people should be worried or concerned about any type of repercussions for them coming forward and testifying? That's a good one. And I asked that question because for so long, everybody was mum's the word and nobody said anything. And it's like everybody is coming out the woodworks and speaking now because they believe that Diddy is going to go down. He's going to do these 30, 60 years for the rest of his life years. We don't know what he's going to be sentenced until he's actually sentenced. But they think it's safe. What happens if Diddy walks? Should they be scared? Move, Migo. I hate when they do this. I tell them ring the bell and they drop it at the door. Ring the doorbell, drop it at the door, don't even sound the same. Whew. Yes, I do think they should be worried. I think they should worry because, Diddy is still powerful, even being locked up. Well, they've kind of taken some of his power away from him. He can only express and exude power when it comes to having communications. And all of his communications are now monitored and recorded. So, except for those with his attorneys. Those are the only ones that are not recorded. Or so they say. Because I don't know if I believe that they are 100% not recorded. I don't believe that. I believe they still listening in. Huh? You're welcome. I'm only going to stay on a little bit longer with you guys. Because I've got to clean my room. And get ready. Get ready. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Y'all take the poll down below and let me know what y'all think. Was Cassie being gaslit by Diddy? That is the question of the moment. Was Cassie being gaslit by Diddy? Okay, so Inner City Press says it may be more difficult for a witness that has recently given birth. And it says, can you recall a witness? So, Inner City Press, I see what you're doing. So, it looks like, are they breaking for the day? Oh, no. Wait a minute. That was 31 minutes ago? Hold on, y'all. I think they may have broke for the day. Hold on. Says 31 minutes ago, we'll break for the day. So are they ending court right now? Let me look around and see what I can see. Because if they've ended right now, then I'm going to go ahead and hop up off of here because y'all need to see what y'all can see. Yeah.
I leave it to good question. Am I gonna listen to his music? I'm gonna listen to Biggie. I'm gonna listen to a lot of music. I'm gonna listen to Biggie. I'm gonna listen. I mean, he made timeless music, so I can't just say I'm gonna throw away the music. And to me, I follow the moniker of innocent till proven guilty. Not saying anything with him because I don't really. We saw the tape, so whatever we saw is what I'm judging it on. But as far as anything else, I would have to just sit back and see. I don't like to jump the gun on anything. That's not my style. Right. Last. I don't like jumping the gun. Last, right? We're just gonna put it out there. Hypothetically, he walks free. Say he walks out. Hypothetically, right? Can he redeem himself? Will you see people seeing him the same? Will they re-embrace him back into the culture? Or are things forever changed? We know how that goes right now in today's society. Once you're maimed or something's put on you or you're found guilty of something, even if you walk free, certain things are unremovable. So I cannot really say if he'll be able to redeem himself, but I will say is that this would be an unremovable state. I think that
That's the same thing that I said, and that is Queen's Flip. I said the same thing. He's gonna be stained. Like, even if people decide to take a chance and still work with him, he is forever tarnished. Oh, y'all see my... Y'all see it? Y'all see it. I don't know what they're called, if they're freckles or what, but they're there. I don't know what the hell. Hyperpigmentation. I don't know what you call it, but that's what it is. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. So I'm going to end this live because there are people that are out there that are actually feet on the grounds at these outside the courthouse grabbing content that you guys are going to want to see. I'm going to say thank y'all for tapping in and tuning in with me. I'm going to go do what I do. Y'all do what y'all do, and we'll meet back here when all of that is through. All right? Have a great day, everybody. Thank y'all. I came and gave y'all an update. Hey, Henny in chat. Did you see Gene Deal? I did see. No, I didn't see Gene Deal for myself. I'm not in New York right now, sweetie. I know I was supposed to be there today, but I ain't there. Ella, that's rude. That is rude as hell, Ella. Don't say that to me. Here's the thing. How can you pardon somebody when they haven't even said that they're innocent? Ooh. He's not even fighting innocence. Yes, it is, MSTQ. It is. Is Peanut Butter going with you? Yes, she is. Rosen, it's okay. You know, I am a melanated woman, but I do have some other blood in me. So there's some things that be showing up that I be like, why do I have that, Jesus? Shouldn't my melanin be enough? But all right, y'all. I'll check back in with y'all later. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. Go grab all of the content that you can. If you feel like free Diddy, that's on you. I'm not arguing with you. If you came over here to try to swat the harness nest, you barking up the wrong tree, honey, because we ain't even on it like that over here. But anyway, y'all be good how y'all be good. Love to all of y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next one.